I met Dhiraj, who was the CEO a few years ago actually, and then we reconnected, and he runs Sigma. And what really took me is that it's one of the top unicorns that's actually profitable, which is a rarity in India. And secondly, I was just amazed with what he does with the workforce that they have at Sigma. So with that, here is Dhiraj to talk about a big concept as well as how he does it. Thank you.
Thanks for the very kind introduction. I think, when we got started in 2005, we were called an analytics company. Later, we were called a big data company. Then we were called a machine learning company. And now we are called an AI company. So I just find it fascinating that we somehow come up with new words for the word technology. And I might throw a little cold water on a buzzword that we all constantly talk about today called AI. But just to make sure that the superb ideas that we just talked about just now become real good companies and not get carried away by just the buzzwords. My journey, it's a very personal perspective that I have, is one where we got started in 2005, saw some success very early on, went on to be one of India's first unicorns, took about $14 million of primary capital from Sequoia Capital and General Atlantic and other investors. Very recently, we returned about $900 million to all of them. Went through lots of ups and some downs also. Company building is never an up journey. It's got ups and downs. I've had my personal ups, personal downs. Had to deal with depression in between. Saw a window of hope through practices like Vipassana. And in this whole journey, the two words that stuck to me was this word called Ijazat, and the other word is Izzat. For people who are not comfortable with Hindi or Urdu, Ijazat is permission and Izzat is respect. So the way I'm going to talk about it is my journey from Ijazat to Izzat and why that matters. While doing all of this, we have put about 15,000 people through Sigma from a training perspective and building what is today the analytics and AI talent in India. We work with over 140 Fortune 500 companies, be it Microsoft or Walmart or pharma companies, solving problems like cure of cancer, solving some of the technologies that you use, the analytics and AI and whatever you want to call it, behind has been built by Sigma. But I'm not going to talk about all of that. I'm going to talk about a framework through which we built this company, because that framework was very, very interesting, because that's what built all of this, including the people. So let me start with the definition. What's the world of Ijazat and what's the world of Izzat? And what's the difference between that? When I was at Booz Allen Hamilton, graduated from University of Chicago, young, MBA, joined Booz Allen Hamilton as a strategy consultant. And about 18 months into the company, into the consulting firm, I came up with this idea of Sigma. And for the less nerdy here, mu stands for mean or expectation, and sigma stands for variation, right? So all of our life is an interaction between mu and sigma. So you could have if you have an expectation, you could either be surprised, where that's a positive sigma. You could be disappointed, which is a negative sigma. And if it's no sigma, you're bored. So the big battle that we all face today is a battle with boredom, right? So with that perspective, we understood that all decision making happens through the interaction between mu and sigma. And we wanted to help organizations change the way they think about decisions, change the way they think about problem solving. And I went to my partners at Booz Allen and said, as a young kid, I said, look, I have this idea where globalization can integrate with innovation. And the paper was a 2-pager called Glonovation, Globalization for Innovation. But the perspective is that if you can reduce the cost per dart, then the chances that you can throw more darts and therefore hit bullseye is that much higher. The best thing that happened to me was that the idea got rejected. And they said, you know, you got to wait for 5-6 years, and you'll make partner here, and then you can do whatever you want, but we see you making partner. And I guess I was impatient, and also obsessive compulsive about the idea, and that allowed me to get out and and as a good, bad Tambram boy, I would say, because the good Tambram boys won't leave a good job. My grandmother kept saying that the Shani period is there, that's why you're leaving this job. So from that, that was the journey, and Mu Sigma got started. So let me kind of describe the theory behind the company very quickly. So, the world of Ijazat is a world where you ask for permission. The world of Izzat is one where you are looking to command respect. The world of Ijazat is about fitting into a category. The world of Izzat is about standing out. The world of Ijazat is one where the founder will de-risk through exits. The world of Izzat is a one where founder will stay on and take the pain. I'll go on and on, but you can see the difference between it very clearly on the slide. One is V for valuation, the other is V for value. One is V for press release, the other is V for purpose, profits, and passion. But if I were to just summarize all of this very quickly, we wanted to move from a world of cost arbitrage to a world of innovation arbitrage. Can India be known for innovation arbitrage? Can we think about globalization with that perspective? So the future I see, and especially this world where new technologies like AI and machine learning and big data and analytics and what software did to hardware, data is going to do to software. So with that perspective, what you see we work with all Fortune 500 companies, the big test for all of us. If you are going to start a company now, your big test is how can you enable people to respond better to uncertainty? Because the natural order of things is that we are only going to face more and more uncertainty in our life. Supply chain disruptions, political instability, all of those things are ways in which uncertainty is going to manifest. So you could respond in 3 ways. One is you could break, and that's fragile. When you're hit with a stress, you break. You take your iPhone, you drop it, it breaks, that's fragile. You could be resilient. You take your iPhone, you drop it, and nothing happens, that's resilient. But I find the third one far more beautiful. This is from Nassim Taleb, which is anti-fragile. You take your iPhone 10, you drop it, and when you pick it up, it's iPhone 15. So this perspective of being anti-fragile is going to be important for all of us. And how do you become anti-fragile? What's the science behind that? So that's what we've been thinking about it. So I think if you want to be in this space, you have to be okay solving hard problems. You have to be looking to solve for hard problems. What's a hard problem and how should we be thinking about hard problems, right? Think about a simple 2 by 2 of uncertainty around what to do and how to do it. If both of that is straightforward, that's simple, you can automate the hell out of it. There is zero discovery of ignorance there, because what to do is known and how to do it is known. The second one is what to do is known, but how to do it is not known. That's complicated. There is a one-dimensional discovery of ignorance, because there's only in one dimension you have to know what you don't know. The third one is complex, which is both what to do and how to do are unknown. You know, that's the world that we are going to live in more and more. And in that world, you have to figure out, you know, how to explore. It's not about experts, but it's about experiments. You have to figure out a way to industrialize the exploration process. There is a fourth, cell. What to do is not known, but you're so sure about how to do it, so you just say AI, right? So that is a very scary place, right? That's what I call simplistic, right? And but you will be tested by the market, and the market is pretty fair. You know, if you're not making, today we generate about 70 to 75 million, 70 to 100 million dollars of EBITDA per year. We are the third most profitable unicorn in India. And that allows us the ability to go from Ijazat, asking for from permission, to go to Izzat, right? Otherwise, you're always asking, right? So the old world versus the new world. Let's understand the problem-solving paradigm. The old world, less volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, the low VUCA world, the current state and the future state, it was pretty much known, and you had one line in which you could make that. There was not much, challenge around that. But in the new world, with so much more uncertainty, what is happening is that for every one current state, there could be multiple future states. So what's the journey you will make in such a world? In such a world, the journey that you will have to make is circling around various future states first, seeing what the possibilities are, industrializing your exploration process, and then figuring out that this is where you want to be. So that journey is a little different. So you have to be able to understand the fact that this new world requires a combination of three things: exploration, execution, and exploitation. And I use the word exploitation from a concept of how to make sure you monetize. So exploration is you are a producer of optionality. You create options for yourself and for others around you. Execution is once you have created all those options, you choose the path, and you create predictability so that you can move as quickly as possible. And exploitation is you make money. Because if you make money, the market says you are fit. Because profit is how the market tells you that you are fit. So a world of uncertainty requires optionality. And that perspective is very, very, very important to keep in mind. So in this new world, when you're a problem solver, you have to understand problem solving is about how confident you can be about solving the problem and how competent you are. And obviously, we don't like to be in that freeway, which is perfect between confidence and competence. And you want to be on that freeway very nicely, but it never happens that way. In the beginning, you're probably more confident than you should be, and you are a risk taker. And later, you then realize that you shouldn't have been that confident, and then you develop capability. So you're toggling around this freeway, and that's the journey that you're taking. This toggling journey cannot be a journey where you will have experts. An expert is somebody who knows a lot about one topic, but it's also not one where you are a generalist. A generalist is somebody who knows a little about many topics. What you have to be is a first principles thinker. And this perspective of first principles thinking is very close to what India calls shunya. The ability to see things as a dot, as a shunya. Being able to, bring things down to, what you can learn very quickly, right? So in a first principles thinker, the person knows what he knows. He also knows all the things he doesn't know, but he's willing to put time and learn it. So that's the perspective. What we see in the market today, and we've been seeing this, and that's one of the reasons why we said that we would not focus on hiring talent, but actually building talent, is that the capability required to solve problems is increasing continuously. But at the same time, and exponentially, the capability produced by our systems are not keeping up. So the challenge to talent gap is continuously increasing. College education does not today, or even before, create an abundance mindset. The college education world is a world which is scale-oriented. It's oriented and it's built with the source of the energy is fear. Will I get a job? And that perspective and the success criteria for that system is number of people you put them through the system. That's how they are thinking about it. The new world has to be a system where it's experience-oriented rather than scale-oriented. There's a lot more focus on exploration, where the success is amount of system that goes through the person. So that kind of world requires us to people should not be trained by people, but people should be trained by problems. In the old world, you had a preparatory environment, you had a production environment. The new world should be combined where the learning, doing, and teaching are coming together. So with this perspective, we said that the real world problem space has to interact with the education space on a continuous basis, and we feel that the future of the preparation environment is going to be people who are going to be a combination of poets, philosophers, and programmers. They have to be a combination of these three things. So are we a startup nation? Let's look at the state of unicorns today. Let me throw some cold water on ourselves so that we wake up. So basically, we have about 110 unicorns as of FY 22. 79% of them are making losses. Cumulative valuation is about 347 billion. Median founder ownership is only 15%. Somebody else owns this now. The aggregate revenue is about 30 billion. The aggregate cost is about 36 billion. So the P&L of the startup nation is negative. So our past was owned by East India Company. Our future seems to be owned by West India Company. So that perspective is important to keep in mind. And as we are seeing this, we have to ask ourselves why profits matter. You just look at the top 10 unicorns, you will see that the top 10 loss-making company outweigh the top 10 profit-making companies in a big way. We have $2 billion of total profits from the ecosystem and $8 billion of losses. There is a lot more press to loss-making companies. Well, because they raise money, and when they raise money, everybody enjoys the fact that somebody is raising money. So we are all in the business of celebrating valuation over value. So, and there is a disproportionate amount of founder exits that happen in loss-making companies. Well, because there seems to be like every time those companies are going through one round, the founder is taking a little bit off, little bit off, little bit off. So these truths have to be told, right? So what's the game that is getting played in the market? Let's understand this concept called money. Money is nothing but value that is created in the past. What is value that will get created in the future? That's ideas and talent. Ideas inside talent. When money is chasing ideas, that's called investment. When talent is chasing money, it's called employment. So these two things are interacting with each other. Now, the money world is daring you to a higher purpose. The idea world is asking you to dream about a higher purpose. Then what is entrepreneurship? The past of investors and the future of employees are interacting in the present. The present is a machine that makes the past into the future, and their resources and ideas are interacting. A marketplace is created, and that's where daring and dreaming come together. That's where doing happens. Doing equal to daring plus dreaming. The concepts of Eastern mysticism beautifully explain our market economy. We are in Nandi, we should be talking about Eastern mysticism. There's the three guys, Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma. Vishnu, the preserver of the past. Shiva, operating in the present, and Brahma, imagining the future. Let's look at their yin-yangs, and that's when it becomes interesting. When they are looked in combination of the yin-yang, Vishnu and Lakshmi, venture capital, private equity, investors, right? Brahma and knowledge, Saraswati, our whole employee ecosystem. Then that leaves Shiva with Shakti, right? That's where the entrepreneur has to be. He has to drink the poison. He has to hold the poison in his neck. He cannot exit. He has to continue to take the risk. So fear is the non-acceptance of uncertainty, according to Rumi. If we accept uncertainty, it becomes an adventure. This guy with a really bad hairstyle says, creativity is intelligence having fun. What Mu Sigma was built on is this perspective that adventure is fear having fun. So can you make it adventure for young people so that they will Sigmax? And I'll tell you what I mean by Sigmax. Any duality, and Advaita is a duality that we think about. It's a concept, the opposite of the concept, and the harmony between the two. So we think of it as a mu-seeking Sigma because everything in the past was shunning Sigma, being predictable. But a world of uncertainty requires you to understand and learn Sigma and be appreciating of Sigma. So you see in many of the examples before, it's all about multiple things interacting with each other. So look at the problem-solving paradigms. Math and business consulting, not very scalable. Business and technology, IT, not very fast. Math and technology product, not very flexible. What you need is a mu-seeking Sigma world, which is a combination of all of these things. And for that world, you need to operate with the principle of learning over knowing. You need to understand the fact that experimentation is more important than experts. And the new IP is to not keep secrets. Interaction property is more important than intellectual property. Now, that kind of world is a duality because the learning over knowing generates humility. The experimentation over experts is about irreverence, so seemingly opposite. And the interaction property allows you to keep correcting yourself and deciding what to do on a continuous basis. So life is a data set. The more the Sigma, the more the learning in your data set. So I think we believe that you have to be able to Sigmax. You have to go from a mu-shunning Sigma world to a mu-seeking Sigma world. And Sigmaxing is how you move from a world of Ijazat, asking for permission, to a world of Izzat. Thank you for my time.